A very good morning to all of you. So, today we are here for a webinar on the topic parental guidance tips. Let me just give a brief introduction about our guest. So, number one, we have Shruti Prem with us, who is an assistant manager, child psychologist at Moms Believe. She has done her MSc in counseling psychology and MPhil in rehabilitation psychology. Our second guest is Dr. Sania Khan, who is an occupational therapist, co-center head of Moms Believe at Pragyan Pediatric Therapy Services. Before proceeding further, I would request all the parents to take a self-developmental screening test dropped in the chat box to get a better understanding of your child's growth and development. Without further ado, Shruti Prem, you can take over. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gargi. Thanks a lot. Welcome parents to this another webinar, role of parents in intervention and parental guidance. I'm Shruti Prem. I also head the counseling and behavioral intervention department at Moms Believe. So, in today's workshop, we're going to be understanding what is parental guidance, how does it work for children, why is it effective, and what are the various parental guidance tips for you and your children. So, firstly, what is parental guidance? So, parental guidance is a well established method to assist children with special needs, wherein the therapist works collaboratively with the child as well as the parent. So a lot of studies starting from 1970s, the studies show that parents guidance is the most effective to change a child's behavior and improve the various domains of development. It can be social skills, it can be cognitive skills, and a lot of other skills. So parental guidance is said to be the essential part of the treatment of a child and across age groups. So it may happen, this particular therapy or program, it can happen in parallel to the other therapies such as occupational therapy, speech therapy, or it can even be used as a single method of treatment. So in this parental guidance program, parents are the main model for the child. So what happens is basically the children are not given full autonomy. By autonomy, what I mean is they are not given the complete freedom to do what they want. So parents come into the picture and exert a practical influence and determine many aspects of their children's routine. It can be what they can do, what they cannot do, how to eat, and all the other certain skills are determined by the parents. So they also have a major influence in the formation of their personality. So only when parents are proactively contributing to their child's development will their development be accelerated more, as well as there will be a formation of their personality. So parents develop guided effective strategies in collaboration with the therapist to deal with their children. So parental guidance works the best by promoting their development in the short term as well as long term, by which I mean that this can be used not just for achieving short term goals, but also long term goals. So, as I said earlier, these parental guidance therapy sessions are performed with parents along with the therapist as well as the child. So it can occur in three different ways. So number one, it can be the therapist, the parent as well as the child. And the second way can be the parent as well as the child. The therapist and the child. And the third way can be the therapist and the parent. So it can occur in different ways, and the techniques for improving social skills, cognitive skills, emotional skills are taught to the parents, which can be implemented in the house slowly. So parental guidance believes that change occurs and starts at home. Only when it starts at home, it can be generalized outside situations. So these strategies are also demonstrated. The strategies are demonstrated by the therapist in the session. So Some therapists also go out of their way and consult with the child's special teacher or other therapists and also work collaboratively with them. To conclude about what is parental guidance, it involves the parents, and this is the most crucial and important aspect of parental guidance program. Now, moving on to why is it effective? Okay, there are many reasons why parental guidance program is effective. Number one, it is because of the parents' involvement. As we all know, a child is with his or her parent for at least 22 to 23 hours or more than, or even 24 hours in this scenario, because there is COVID, and everyone are at home. So we believe, and the program believes, that parents need to learn the skills to handle the child. So parental guidance teaches and trains the parents to be their child's primary therapist. And it is a collaborative effort. The therapist is involved, the child is involved, the parents are involved. So that's the major reason why parental guidance is very, very effective for the child's development. Now, moving on to how or which areas parental guidance helps in. So parental guidance helps in developing, firstly, cognitive skills. Now, what is cognitive skills? Cognitive skills refers to your thinking skills, reasoning, what we say intellectual capacity. So cognitive skills it helps in. Secondly, social skills. Social skills refers to those skills wherein your child is able to interact with the other children, is able to play with the other children, is able to communicate with the other children appropriately. And thirdly, self-help skills. What is self-help skills? Self-help skills include, brushing teeth, bathing, washing hands, washing face, washing after toilet. So these are the self-help skills. And fourth, emotional skills. What are emotional skills? Emotional skills are the way your child expresses emotions, the way your child recognizes emotions. And lastly, behavioral skills. The way your child behaves. Is the child hitting other children, pushing other children? Here is where parental guidance will help your child. So now I have a few tips for parents in how to help your child develop in these areas that I've already spoken about. Okay. So number one, cognitive skills. Now, cognitive skills. How can you improve cognitive skills? Number one, sing-alongs. What are sing-alongs? Sing songs with your child. Sing along with your child. Encourage him to sing along with you. Play his favorite music, songs in the house, or when you're traveling in the car regularly, and he or she may eventually start singing along by himself. Now, what is this activity help in? This activity helps in promoting memory as well as word identification. That's number one. Number two, identify noises. Have your child identify, different noises in the house that he hears throughout the day. It can be birds singing, it can be a car horn, it can be the, the voice of the washing machine, a mixie, right? Or running water from a tap. Introduce the child to these noises. Help the child identify these noises. He will begin to understand how sounds relate to object in his everyday environment eventually. Number three, practice the alphabet. Okay, help your child identify letters by singing along to the alphabet song. That is the simplest way. Reading books about alphabets and playing with alphabet puzzles. Now, here is an easy game that you can help your child learn his or her letters. So what you have to do is cut out individual squares that feature each letter of the alphabet written in bright colors. Make sure they're bright because children are always visual learners. And mix them up and tape them on various surfaces around the house. It can be on the table, it can be on the chair, right? And go through the alphabet with your child and encourage him to search for these alphabets around the house to find the next letter and tape it to the wall in order. So when finished, leave the alphabet letters in order up on the wall until you're ready to play the game again. So what will happen is the child is going to get familiar with the alphabets. He's going to understand the order, and this will enhance his cognition. Number four, Practice counting. Identify opportunities throughout the day to practice counting. Count the number of shoes in your child's closet, or when he gets dressed, or the number of staircase that you both are climbing up or climbing down, or the number of slides in the playground, number of children in the playground. So what will happen is, eventually it will take some time. It is not good, it's not magic, right? It takes a considerable amount of time. With practice, what will happen is, you will start seeing that your child is on his own counting everything. And next is practicing shapes and colors. So identify shapes and colors when interacting with your child. You can say, this, when you're playing with a ball, you can say that that is a round blue ball. So what will happen is, the child's recognition, child's identification will increase. And lastly, offer choices. Now, offering choices is the most crucial part of building cognition. Whenever you can, offer your child choices. For example, would you like to wear the brown shorts or the blue shorts? Or would you like to eat rice today or chapati today? Right, this will help them feel that, okay, what, my parents trust me, and things that I am independent. So what will happen eventually is that they will become more independent and learn to make confident decisions and choices that affect their day-to-day life, and that will help in building their cognitive skills. Now, moving on to social skills. How can you, as parents, help your child develop social skills? Firstly, managing big emotions. What are these big emotions? It can be anger, happiness, sadness, right? What you can start with is use puppets to role play situations that evoke big emotions, and provide examples of how the puppets manage these emotions. And this can also include calm down strategies, breathing techniques, working things out, moving away from the situation, thinking about it, negotiating with others, or asking for help. So when you're teaching a skill, always make sure that you speak to your child. Keep the communication going. Your child needs to understand that, whatever the concerns are, I can get back to my parent. Number two, conversation starters. When children are in their early beginnings of, social confidence and building their social skills, it is these small things that need attention. What you can start with, you can start with greetings. Good morning, good night, good evening. When do you use them? When do you say them? What is the appropriate situation that you need to use these things, right? Teach them how to introduce themselves to others. Approaching someone in the playground, teach them. When you're meeting a child on the playground, ask them, can I play with you? Can we play together? Right? And starting conversations with new friends, asking about their shared interests. These are all part of training for social skills. And number third, listening skills. Okay, this also you can do with puppets, where you can teach them turn taking in conversation, and emphasis on the skill of listening. When you're working with your child, always paraphrase. That is, whatever they are saying, you need to tell them back and reflect and tell them back what exactly they are saying, so that they understand that you as a parent are listening to your child. Number four, being kind to others. Kindness is something that is very, very essential, and this as well can be role played by using puppets to give compliments to other children. You're wearing a nice dress today, so offering help and asking for help if needed. These are the things that these are the different social skills that children need to learn. And appropriate social skills are general skills that help in everyday interactions, such as asking and answering questions, speaking respectfully, in the correct tone, using manners, and disagreeing with a person, right? And lastly, empathy. What is empathy? Empathy refers to the ability to acknowledge and identify emotions in others. So this is one particular skill that must be taught to children. You can start off by, role playing with puppets, two puppets, where puppet A gets upset and says, I didn't mean to hurt his feelings. I think I should apologize. Where what you are doing is you are helping your child to recognize emotions of others. presenting them with, picture cards of emotions, asking them how they are feeling in a particular situation, ask them about how their friend would feel in a specific situation. So this is how you will build social skills. Number three, self-help skills. So self-help skills, as I said earlier, refers to self-feeding, independent dressing and grooming, hygiene and toileting, helping with daily chores like table setting, picking up toys. So the best way to start with self-feeding is to learn the normal development stages of self-feeding. So you can read up on what are the normal developmental stages of self-feeding. Encourage children to practice feeding by themselves from early on. Don't wait till say 6 or 7 to give them their independence in eating on their own. So what you can start is, you can start offering older infants finger foods, introduce a spoon and fork, and give children plenty of time to practice. So even if it gets a little messy, that's okay. You can probably put a mat and make the child sit on the mat and just give the food in the plate and ask the child to eat on his own. Even if he or she makes a mess, that's okay, right? And give them the tools they need to be successful. It can be the bowls that attach to the table, or child size utensils. You can use small cups with handles, or you can use measuring cups, right, for pouring, and encouraging children to try for themselves, but provide help and encouragement whenever needed, so that they don't get frustrated. So another technique that you can start with is called as pouring practice. So what you can do is, you can take different glasses that are transparent, where the child can see the water level. So what you can do is take 4 or 5 different glasses and tape the glasses at different levels, right? And what you can start with is, give the child a mug of water, or like a jug of water, and ask the child to fill up each glass up to a certain level. So you can mark these levels with tape. So what will happen is, the child can see that, okay, you know what, I have to measure this cup only till this level. This will also help in a lot of fine motor and eye hand coordination, that will eventually help in self feeding. Right. Next is independent dressing and grooming. Encourage children to dress and groom by themselves. Offer them choices. Give them 2 choices. Do you want to wear the red T-shirt or the blue T-shirt? And encourage them to pull off socks. Put socks. As children get older, encourage them to dress themselves, but help with challenging steps such as zipping and buttoning. So another thing that you can do for children who don't know how to pull up socks is that you can take the rubber bands, the hair bands that we use to tie our hair, right? So what you can do is, you can ask, this can be a practice that can be done every day. You can ask your child to put the hair band onto the feet up to the ankle level, and then pull them out, right? So what will happen is, that motion of putting the socks and taking out the socks will start developing. Next is hygiene and toileting. Look for signs of readiness for toileting, right? Encourage children learning to use the toilet to climb on and off the toilet seat, pull clothes up and down, wash their hands independently, give them verbal prompts while doing this. And lastly, helping with daily chores like table setting, picking up toys. Encourage children to help with clearing up early on, right? You don't have to do everything for the child, because the child has the capability to clean up and listen to instructions and do what the parent is saying. So give toddlers responsibilities for picking up toys that are all over the room, putting it in a basket, or placing napkins or utensils on the table, or just stacking cups. Right? Encourage children to begin clearing their own plates when they're old enough to carry them without dropping them. So this is how you develop self-help skills. Now, coming to behavioral skills. Behavioral skills, like I said earlier, it is about, portraying the correct kind of behavior to other children, to parents, to other members in the family, not hitting others, not pushing others. So how do you develop the behavioral skills? Number one, connect with your child. We have to make, as parents, we have to make a concentrated effort to connect with your own children. right? Find out what your child's interests are, assets are, what's his favorite sport, what does he like to do, what is he good at, what are his assets, his strengths. Spend a specific amount of time with your child every day, one on one, so that you can build that bond and connect. Number two, strengths, right? Like I said, everybody is good at something. Children are good at something or the other, right? It's just a matter of how you're going to find out what the child is good at. So, you can give them, if your child has probably enjoys drawing or painting, then check out painting classes, drawing classes for your child, enroll your child in those classes. Then comes the environment. So create a soothing environment, right? So for what happens is, when children are at home most of the time, especially during the pandemic, the child gets very overwhelmed, and then they start throwing tantrums, like not listening to mother, not listening to father, and all of those things happen. So what you can do is, you create a soothing or a calming corner in the house, wherein you can put big pillows and make it comfortable, place probably bean bags if possible, and create break areas. You can also have some of his favorite toys, his or her favorite toys around, and fidget spinners around, slime, clay, right? All of these things can also be made available as part of the soothing corner. So what you can do is, whenever the child is getting anxious, overwhelmed, is throwing tantrums, you can take your child or give your child a break of 5 to 10 minutes in this calming corner, right? And make sure wherever the study area of your child or the activity area of the child, it's not too cluttered. Now, fourth, fun but firm. Always make sure that, of course, you as parents need to have fun with your children. You are going to play games, you're going to have a lot of bonding time, but always make sure that you are firm. If there is a situation that the child is showing an undesirable behavior, you need to be firm and say that, no, this is not how it's going to work. There are some certain rules that you need to follow from me, right? And make sure that that firmness is also built early on. Next, reward and praise. Rewards, positive reinforcement, verbal praises are very important to modulate and manage behavior. You can find out what are the things that the child does like, and give a reward every time the child is portraying a desirable behavior. Number six, ignore. It's not always easy to ignore your child, right? Or ignore the negative behavior, but try to ignore certain negative behaviors and try to complement the desirable behavior that you want to see. Okay, for example, if your child is avoiding a writing project by tapping their pencil, or ripping paper, what you can do is ignore this behavior, right? Ignore this behavior, and the moment he stops tapping his pencil or ripping paper, reinforce him. So what happens is, he will start getting an idea that, if I behave a certain way, I'm going to get a reward, I'm going to get a praise, right? And his negative behavior, when you ignore his negative behavior, that is not reinforced, right? That will, the chances of it occurring again is zero. Now, breaks and space, like I said, give the child frequent breaks. An anxious child may need to go for a walk, or go to a calming corner for some time. A hyperactive child may need to, probably you can give activities like watering the plants, or an angry child, for example, may need to sit in a beanbag and read a book, or squeeze slime or clay, right? And this will really help in regulating the behavioral skills of the child. And lastly, listen and talk. Always make sure that you listen to your child, talk to your child, reciprocate to what your child is saying. The communication channel should always be open. And lastly, emotional skills. How do you develop emotional skills? Number one, recognition of emotions. As adults, it's very easy for us to recognize emotions, label them. But as children, it's a very abstract concept for them. They don't understand how to what are emotions, how to recognize those emotions. So what you can start with is showing the emojis, right? You can start with making emoji cutouts and showing that, introducing these emotions to the child, that this is happy, this is sad, this is angry, right? And whenever the child is feeling upset, or whenever the child is feeling sad, what you can start with is, start showing these emojis and ask him to choose which emotion he is facing right now. And emotional awareness, talk about your own emotions, talk at the end of the day, your the child's father and the mother can sit together and share emotions, share their own emotions, when they felt sad, when they felt happy, when they felt anger, and emotional regulation. You can also share with your children that when mama felt angry, mama did this, mama took 10 deep breaths and I could regulate my emotions. So that's how you teach your children to regulate emotions. So, in conclusion, what I would like to say is parental guidance is the most important aspect or most important training for children as well as parents. And we at Moms Believe we also have a parental guidance program, which includes giving and guiding with a lot of structure to the parents as well as the child, strategies to improve all these areas that I have already spoken about, right? And we also, so how the structure of our parental guidance program works is that once you are into our program, we take a in detail case history, we have in detail assessments, we have evaluations, and then we also have reports being sent to you, assessment reports being sent to you. Post that, we make an individualized education plan. What is an individualized education plan? An individualized education plan includes strategies that are catering to specific skill areas that the child requires training in. It can be social skills, behavior skills, it can be processing speed. So there are a lot of areas that come into light, that are problem areas for a child after we do the in detail assessment as well. And then the individualized education plan is sent to you, to the parents, to kind of take a look and follow the plan, right? As well as we also offer a lot of parental support, because most of the times what happens is parents are getting very overwhelmed and very stressed, very confused that why is this happening with my child. So we also have counseling and parental support for the parents so that you can do best for your child. So with that, I conclude my session. So for all those parents out there, for all you do, for all you are, all our thanks. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shruti. Let's start the second segment of our webinar, that is one-to-one interaction. So to all the participants, you can ask your questions in the chat box, or simply you can raise your hands. We'll unmute you and you can ask your questions directly.
Any questions with regard to any strategies that I've explained? Anything else, you guys can just put it on the chat and I can start with the question.
I have a
You
question.
can ask your question.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I just want to know, because my child behaving is nowadays, I'm not going to, what we say, I'm not understanding him and how he act, how he changes mood. He's a smooth swimming. I can't handle him.
So, Nikita ji, are you saying that he is showing some behavioral concerns right now?
Yes, like means he gets angry. He slipped down. He threw the products when they're like playing games and all. But in others, she is too much better.
Right.
But when he get angry, I can't control him, and I am like most of the people are telling me you are the short temper, but I don't think so. I'm a short temper. I don't think so. It's mine.
Right.
And literally I was like, okay, fine. I'm just ignoring lots of things from him. He's like pushing others or biting or like what we say is like what the childs do.
Right. Right. So this is basically what we say behavioral concerns, right?
Yes,
Behavioral
yes.
problems that require a lot of changes in the environment, the changes in the way you are probably dealing with the child, the consequences the child is facing. You have to always set a consequence for your child so that he understands that if he behaves a certain way, there is going to be a consequence. If there is no consequence, then the child is going to continue to behave the same way.
Yes,
And
yes, yes.
right. So Nikita, I feel that you should surely understand what the behavior problems are with the child, and also if you need any kind of guidance, you can always reach out to us. We can have it in a structured way and tell you as to how you can modify your child's behavior in a much better way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have another question from Ritu Parna Chatterjee. She's asking how to manage our emotions in front of kids.
uh, Rituparna, are you asking about your own emotions? Can you unmute her so that she can speak?
Tarun, please help.
Hello. Hello, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah.
Rituparna.
Yes. Yes. Sometimes maybe we means I and my husband. Sometimes we get into small fights in front of the kid, and it obviously affects. So how to manage that and how to maintain peace at home. So that is my
Right.
question.
I understand. See, this is something that we have been working closely with parents, because parents, like I said, parents feel very overwhelmed while the child is behaving a certain way or showing certain behaviors. So what you can start off with is you can start off with certain simple breathing exercises that you can just do at home, so that you can take control of your own behavior, your own emotions first, and only then you can go ahead and work with your child. There's something called as
Okay.
5 finger breathing, Ritu. So what you can do is, whenever you're feeling overwhelmed, or you are reacting without thinking, many a times that happens, right? When your child is behaving a certain way. So what you can do is you can take your hand, you can do this, and you can breathe in and breathe out, just like this. When you are going up, you can breathe in and then breathe out.
Okay.
Breathe in, breathe out. So what happens is, with breathing, you will be able to regulate your own emotions first and then react to your child appropriately.
Okay.
Okay. And if you
Thank you,
need
ma'am.
any further assistance, we also have, like I said, we have parental counseling, where we have a lot of parents who are overwhelmed, and just like your concerns that you are speaking about, we always deal with parents like that, and we give them the emotional support they need. So you can always reach out to us as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
So there is another question from Ritu. What can we do if the child hits his parents or grandparents? So yeah.
Sanya, do you want to take this question?
Yeah, Ritu, am I audible?
Yes, Sanya, you are.
So, Ritu, what you can do is you can teach the child that this is wrong. Means for every act, for every beating, you can just hold the child calmly, or you can just hug the child so that the child knows that this is wrong and the movement is stopped. Means the hands are stopped. Then he won't be able to beat further. So that is one thing. Another thing is you can roll the child in a blanket and calm the child out. And then what you can do else is you can put the child in a dark room so that the child is become calm. With when the child is in the dark room, you can play some music so that it soothes the mental abilities of the child, so that he is able to process what is going on in the environment. Because he's not able to process, and because earlier when he bet he was not stopped, so that is the reason it got aggravated. So with these techniques, means gradually it will slow down. And what you need to do is channelize the energy. If the child has a lot of energy, you have to make use of it in a meaningful play pattern or any activities which the child likes. So in that manner you can channelize the energy so that the focus is not on the negative behavior and more on the positive part and channelizing of the energy.
Now we have a question from Darshini. She raised her hand. Darshini, you can ask your question.
Hello?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my question now, ma'am, was my main concern is I'm not able to connect to my child. My kid is a boy kid, and usually he prefers children or his father or any male members in the family. Since since he was a baby, this has been the problem. He doesn't. Although I try to make it things enjoyable for him, only if some other person is there in the house, he stays with me. Or else it will be usually difficult for me. He'll say complete no to stay with me alone also. One reason is because he has got used to other kids in the family. My his granny's house is quite nearby, 10 minutes walk. So usually in this corona time, we used to send him there because there was no school and nothing else for him to keep occupied. And now it has become like he doesn't want to stay with me at all. If I have to teach him, if I have to get that connection, it is like he cries a lot and lot. Till I take him over there, he doesn't stop. And he doesn't want to play with me. Nothing he enjoys with me. I don't know how to connect to him.
Okay. So Darshini, have you been working earlier and not able to give time to your child? Was
No,
that?
working, no. But one reason is that there was a time when I used to be strict. In the house, it's like my husband is not strict. He pampers the kid a lot, although I keep telling him, don't do that. Nowadays, even he has got to understand now what have been the result of it, and he is also trying to be a bit strict now. But prior to it and all, I was the only one who used to, tell out the things to child or make him read, write. So he somewhere or the other he has felt the pressure from me. I've come to know that I've stopped everything. But I don't know now how to connect to my child, how to build that relationship. It's become very difficult for me.
See, it's not that you were strict, that is why the child has lost connection with you. It's not like that. Whatever activities you've been doing with him, please continue that you need not stop it. The other thing is there should be a balance between pampering and criticism, right? So you have to go a bit further towards the lovable part more, and your husband should come to the strict part more. So there should be a balance. Otherwise, then the child is not able to understand that. Means one stimulus is very negative and one is very positive, so then the child is not able to understand and correlate. So that is why this happens. So what you can do is you can spend more time with your child. The child will and continue with the activities. It's not that you stop activities, but be a little playful as well as strict. Strict means be firm mostly. What is the age of your child?
He's 3.8, ma'am. He has this listening issue.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
If means try to hug the child more and be involved, because there are hearing problems, right? So tactile sensation will be the bond between you, means touch. So mostly be with him, keep him on your laps mostly, and when he is on your laps, then make him do the activities.
Okay.
Okay, so that will develop a more better connection with you and your child.
Okay. And should I avoid taking him to his granny's place more, because now it has become like most of the time he will want to go there because there are a lot of kids in the road. So he keeps playing, and I'm not knowing how to get him back to our house has also become very difficult.
So it should be a gradual process. If suddenly you do that, then again he won't be able to process it, and then he will again become cranky. So gradually you have to taper the time. Means his sleeping pattern, right? So when he's tired at your place, after that only you take, so that no much energy is left. So then gradually you can withdraw him from being to the grandmother's place, like that.
Thank you, ma'am.
There is
Next we
another
have-
question
Okay.
from, I think, Farheen. You told comfort area, but in middle class parents, it's not possible that they have only one room in that position. What they have to do? Okay, so the calming corner that I was talking about, anyone can make it. It need not be that you need to buy big pillows or buy bean bags. If it's available at home, great, you can make use of that. Otherwise, what you can do is you can simply put like a soft, probably a small bed sort of a thing, a small bed, and what you can do is you can play music in that area, take him to that area, play music. You can, an alternative to play dough can be even the dough, right, that you use to make chapatis, that you can give him that. So that's completely up to you. Can just get handy with it. There is no hard and fast rule that you have to use pillows or you have to use bean bags.
Srikant is asking us, his child is 5 and he hates writing. So what to do?
Yeah. Initially, whatever he likes, means if he likes colors, if he likes paints, so with that we can make him write. But the child is, I know the child. So if the child is uh, means hyperactive or non-attentive, firstly we have to make him become more attentive. So in that process, a bit strictness is required for him, and more means apart from therapy, means apart from fine motor skills and precision at home, also he needs a bit practice. So means make the mother sit with the child and be stern and firm with him, and he will be able to write. Means firstly scribbling will start, then then gradually some lines, and then he will pick up that in hand manipulation to write. So it is a gradual process in which the mother, therapy, as well as everybody's contribution is required, means around the home. So then mostly give him more than giving him other toys, give him a pen and a paper more, so that is in his vision mostly. So then he will gradually grab it.
Thank you, Sanya.
Abhishek Mitra has raised his hand.
Okay, let's take his question.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Thanks, Shruti, for the wonderful.
Hi, Abhishek, tell me.
Sincerely,
Your voice is not clear, actually. I'm not able to hear you clearly. Abhishek, if you're finding it difficult to speak, you can just put your question on the chat box. I can read it out from there. Any other questions as well, you guys can drop it in the chat.
Hello.
Juhi
Hi.
Chandra.
Hi, Divya, this side. Can I ask a question, ma'am?
Yes, sure, Divya, you can.
Ma'am, my child is having, she's around 9 years old, and she's having an epilepsy since the childhood. And now, as we have to give her medicines, force them to dress themselves, and various other household work, we get her done. So she tries to hit me a lot. Like if I go and make her do bathing or brushing her teeth, she tries to hit me because the activity she does not like to do, she starts hitting me. She's vocal as well. There's
Right.
no problem in vocal, but she hits me a lot because I am the person who give her medicines, give her feed her, and all those stuff, and make her study as well. So she tries to hit me. She pulls my hair. She tries to hit me. She tries to hit me. So I have to take care of her.
You've muted yourself, Divya.
Hello.
Yeah, now you can tell me again. Divya, you can tell me.
Hello.
Yes, Divya, we can hear you.
Okay. So can you just let me know how can it can be helped? How
Uh,
can I like?
Sorry, I missed your last part of the question. Can you repeat that again?
Yeah. So what should I do in that scenario when she's trying to hit me a lot?
Right. So see, what we'll see, of course, she is lethargic, and she's also feeling very tired. She's low on energy because of the medicines probably. So what you can do is, along with making her do things, right, according to you, what you are saying, you can also give her a choice. Do you want to do this now, or do you want to do this? And also, you can also, kind of improve the bond that both of you share by doing activities that both of you enjoy. It can be coloring, it can be painting, right? So that the bond between you and your child increases a little bit more. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, so Abhishek Mitra has asked how to stimulate interest of my child towards a new activity, as she's very lethargic for something new. Okay, so first of all, I would like to, you should assess if your child is getting appropriate sleep, is getting appropriate, is eating enough. Now, what happens is, whenever an activity or something new is introduced to a child, probably the child is not showing interest because of these reasons as well, because the child is not also understanding the concept of that activity. So you can find different ways. Visual stimulation can be given so that the child is more responsive to that. Like I said earlier, children respond much easier and much better to visual cues rather than verbal cues. So that's something that you can try, Abhishek.
We have another question from Juhi. Tarang, can we unmute Juhi?
Juhi, you can ask your question.
Okay, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, I have a 10-year-old son, and I can see some temper issues in him. He is academically very good. He does not have any kind of stage fright. He takes up all the activities very well, and he's very conscious of this, that he should do well in the class. But of lately, I'm seeing that whenever something is not of his choice, or any instruction given to him is like in discipline, so he will not say no, but he will try to be very argumentative. Number one, and if he stops, then what he will do? He will show some kind of violent behavior. Violent in the sense, he will pull the chair. He will try to, he will mince his teeth. Some expressions which are, you feel get little aggressive. So, is it age related, or yeah?
Okay.
Thank
So first of all, like I said, even during the workshop, children find it very difficult to regulate their emotions, right? When they cannot regulate their emotions, or probably he's not understanding his emotions, how to deal with them. So that's the time we have to train your child in emotional regulation. Right, we exactly need to know what kind of what's the level of the child right now. Is he able to regulate his emotions? So the behavioral presentation that you see is mainly because there is no emotional regulation. So
Okay.
you need to teach your child how to regulate his emotions. Is it through giving him an alternative, or telling him? You can even teach him with social stories about the way to react to your parents, or what emotions are appropriate, what behaviors are appropriate, what behaviors are inappropriate, because clearly
Mm-hmm.
he is very good in all the other areas except for behavioral regulation. So even
Yes.
if you are finding it difficult in understanding how to regulate your child with behavioral issues, you can always reach out to us.
Okay. Okay. And this
Yeah.
is only in, I have seen this never happens in the class because most of the time it's Zoom only, and so he's at home. So I can see that this is not in the class. This is not happening in the class, and that is why he's not able to adjust with his friends outside.
Correct. So that's what I'm saying. So his social skills, his emotional expression, and his behavioral issues, that needs to be dealt with, and we need to understand in detail. Probably this weekend, you can just reach out to reach out to us. You can drop your number so that I can call you directly, and we can have a more personal conversation about this, because it is very important we understand what exactly has been happening from the past couple of months. And you're saying that it's suddenly off late it has started, right?
Yeah.
So
Off
we need
late.
to
Off
right
late.
so we need to also understand why he is frustrated, or why he's getting irritated. What are the specific reasons, so that we can work around it, and we can give the specified strategies for him specifically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Yeah. Thank you, Julie.
I think Abhishek is back. So Tarun, can we unmute him once again?
I think we answered
Go
Abhishek's
ahead.
question, right?
I had another question.
Okay, tell me, Abhishek.
The second was that I find it very difficult. I have two kids. One, the senior one is about 7 and 8, 7.5. She is of this. Second one is 2 years old. Now, gradually, she is also following the behavior of my elder child. They give us a very difficult time in feeding them the normal meals. Normal meals. If we provide them something very spicy or bahar ka khana, they are very good at it. But normal, they will just, you know, it takes about 1.5 hour or something more than that to feed them. I
Okay.
think this that can
We,
Abhishek, again, I think your voice was
we lost.
breaking, but I think your question was that you are finding it difficult in feeding your children, right? Both your
yes,
children. That's
yes.
what your question is. Okay. And what's the age of your children? Can you repeat that once more?
The elder one is about 7.5 years, and the junior one is 2 years.
Okay. So what you can do with your you are still feeding your 7.5-year-old daughter?
No, since she's a Caesar patient, so some
Okay.
behavior changes. Like for many days, many months, she had been taking her food by her own. But kabhi kabhi usko खिलाना पड़ता है. Very especially when she gets something of her choice exactly, she will not allow us to feed also. She will try to take the food by her own, but very
Right.
slow. But when we try to feed her normal dal, chawal, roti, sabzi and all, my God, she keeps the food in mouth for maybe for 15, 20 minutes or half an hour also.
Okay. Sanya, do you want to answer this?
Yeah. For such cases, what you can do is you can give some pseudo stimulus for this. You can put, if they like junk food, so you can put cubes of apples or bananas or some fruits in that packet. You remove the chips and you put it, or you mix it with the chips, like that. So there can be, with this example, you can do this with many things, so that gradually they'll start adapting to it, and then you can move on gradually to the healthier food choices. And the other thing is, do you give them screen while they are being fed?
Actually, both of us are working, so the meal that they take during the lunchtime is being
Yeah.
given to the maid, and she has to, switch on the television and the cartoon for feeding them, and that becomes very difficult.
So because of that, again, then they will have this screen dependence for eating. So they have, for the 2 year kid also, means
2 years,
from the initial
2 years,
part.
but looking at the behavior of the senior one, she's also trying to adapt the same behavioral styles.
Actually, the environment is such that she is also, means the maid, the caretaker will give, because she has to make them feed, right? So they will, in any manner they will do that. So please try that you sit with the child for the eating this thing, and this adaptation you can make, and gradually you can move them to the healthier choices of food. Means you can mix the junk with the healthier stuff, and then gradually you can proceed like that. You can do.
Abhishek, another thing that you can do is you can make the plate more interesting, have, vegetables as smiley faces, emojis, so that, the child is finding it more interesting. And if at all a child is, not interested in the food, you don't have to force feed the child, just give it some time, right? When the child gets hungry, probably after 20 minutes or half an hour, you can try again. And always you can also do one thing is that to encourage eating on their own, what you can do is, rather than mixing the food and giving it to them, you can make rice into smaller balls and put it on the plate and have the curry separate, have the sabji separate, and give them the choice to choose and pick what they want rather than mixing it. You can try this out. If you're still finding it difficult, please do reach out to us, because your child also is having seizures, so you don't want to force her to do a lot of things.
I am extremely thankful to both of you, very especially Shruti ma'am, the explanation that you gave for half an hour. That was really very crispy and to the point, and it helped me personally. So thank you both of you.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you for the feedback. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Abhishek. Anvisha
So,
Deshmukh raised her hand. So,
yeah, so she has typed her
Anvisha, you can
question.
ask
So,
your question.
should I read it? Okay, Anvisha, you can ask your question directly.
Hello.
Yes, Anvisha. Hi, Anvisha. Tell us.
Yes, hi. My daughter is 7 years old.
Okay.
She is good in everything. Only thing when she becomes sad, when we sometimes she do the mischievous thing and we scold her, then she becomes very sad and she started crying. But after that, she don't come on a normal conditions. Every time she says, "Mama, make me happy, make me happy." We have to give some chocolates or talk something good like that likes her. She don't come on her own on the normal conditions again. That is the
Right.
main problem. Otherwise, she is very good in everything.
Right. So we, Anvisha, as you can see from the discussion, there are a lot of emotion and behavior problems in children. This is again an emotional issue wherein the child is feeling, very low. She's not able to regulate her emotion, and that's the reason she's coming up to you and telling you that, what, Mama, make me happy, right? Because she's not able to regulate her emotion. She's not regulate. What I mean by regulate is she's not able to handle the overwhelming emotions. When you're scolding her, she does not know how to handle it, right? So now what we have to work on is we have to work on making her understand that when she's having certain emotions, when she's going through certain emotions, it can be anger, sadness, what are the things that she can do to feel better. That should be your goal with your child.
Okay, I so many times told her count in reverse condition 10, 9, 8, but she tells no, I
Right,
don't make them
right,
happy. She
right.
says
So
no, Mama, it don't make me happy. You make me
right.
happy. Give me some chocolate.
Right. See, right. So now what you can also start with is basically, see, definitely this requires a little bit, further evaluation so that I can understand when her emotional, expression issues have started, right? So that we can give her specific strategies as to how to deal with it. Probably the strategies that you are adopting right now is not working with her. And this might also be because her, her self-esteem or her self-confidence may be poor. So we need to start working on that as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Then what I have to do, ma'am?
See, that's what I'm saying. So we need to start working on and a simple exercise that you can do is you can take two chart papers, right? In that you can write my mom, and in the other chart paper you can write me. So what you can do is you can ask your child to write about yourself, write about you, and you can write about your child. Okay, and what you can do is you can read out these good qualities about each other to your child. So what will happen is your bond will increase, first thing. Now her expression will increase, what she wants to express will increase. So this is just one simple strategy that I can tell you in this short amount of time, but do try this. This definitely will work.
Okay, and when I talk to her some interesting that her likes, then she becomes okay. Then,
Right.
but she cannot come on a normal condition by herself. That is the main problem.
Correct. So what you have to understand here is her skills, right? Of her emotionally handling her own emotions is not there. So we need to teach her. And at this point, I would definitely urge you to just connect with us so that we can help you and we can understand your concerns in a much better way.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be more helpful.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So I think Deepal is waiting for so much time now. So I would like to take his question. So Deepal is asking, if 3.5-year-old is not able to sit steadily in Zoom class, what can be done?
Okay, so this is one problem that all parents and children are facing, and you need to also understand as parents that this is very new to the children. um, I mean, it's okay if your child is not able to sit in front of the Zoom class for 1 hour, 2 hours. Give them breaks, like I said, in my work, in my presentation as well, that you give them breaks, give them water breaks, give them some some activity that they really enjoy, because as stressful it is for you parents, imagine the stress they are going through because of the pandemic, because of the change in the situations. So it's okay even if they're not able to sit. It's quite natural. You can give them breaks, you can try to soothe them, make a calming corner. Like I said, it will really help.
We have another question from Vihana, I think. Jalaj, can we unmute?
Vihana, you can ask
Sorry,
your
can you
question.
please repeat, Gargi?
Hello. Yeah, I'm 6 years old daughter's child mother. I want to understand her concentration is very weak. Like if I give some activity, she gets bored easily, and she look for the other activity. So, what is the way of improving some concentration, like maybe yoga or maybe other method which you can suggest? Could you hear me? Hello.
Yeah. Right. Vihana, what you can do is don't give him multiple toys or tasks to complete. First, give the child one task to complete or one toy to play with. The moment she finishes with it, then you give the other. In that manner only, she will gain that concentration. Never give whatever she asks for. Even if she becomes a bit cranky, make her understand that you have to complete one task first and then only you can move on to the other. So in that manner only you can make her concentrate well more.
But then what normally she does, what normally she does that if I want to take it like that thing, force her to do that thing, then she try to do any manner, like whatsoever manner she try to finish and just leave it,
That's fine.
So not giving the better quality then.
Yeah,
If I force.
Yeah, she doesn't have to master it, nor doesn't you have to force it. You just have to say, unless and until you complete this, you are not getting the other thing. That's it. That's the only thing. Let her complete in however manner she wants. We don't need perfection or mastering in that. So, in that manner, she will understand that, okay, this is a timeout. She has to complete it. So then she will gradually gain concentration.
I would like to add here, what you can do is you can also pair the activity with a reinforcer. By reinforcer, what I mean is something that she likes. So you can tell her that, 10 minutes you can do this activity. If you complete this activity, you're going to get something that she likes. So what will happen is you're creating motivation for her, right, to do a certain activity. So you can definitely try that, ma'am.
Okay. And yoga or something in this age is help 6 years old?
If she's able to follow the commands,
definitely yoga is helpful, breathing is helpful, but always make sure that you are yoga is helpful, breathing is helpful, but always make sure that there is always an expert's guidance when you are doing all of those exercises.
Definitely. Thank you for the answers.
Thank
I
you. Thank you
think
so much.
we would take the last question. Is from that is from Aarti. So Tarang, can we
Aarti,
unmute
you
her?
can ask your question.
My daughter is not speaking with elders that much. She mingles with peers.
I didn't understand the question. Can you please repeat?
She is mingling with the peers well, but if elders questions her, she is not able. She is not answering them. Can you hear me?
No, please say a little louder.
She is not answering to the elder people if they ask her something.
Okay, what is her age?
5.
5.
5.
Yeah, she needs a lot of stimulus and a question and answer kind of a stimulus where you have to ask the question as well as reciprocate the answer so that she knows that if somebody asks me such questions, she has to repeat. I think she didn't get that much of a stimulus, so that is why she's not able to answer it. And there may be some other issues as well. So the deep, thorough evaluation is needed, I think, for her. If she's 5 years old.
Okay.
I think
Very well.
Now can
sorry,
you hear?
we lost it. We lost you, Aarti. Can you repeat it? Aarti, you can type your question. We'll ask. We'll tell you. Okay, in the meanwhile, we'll take another question. Someone is asking that my child is 5 years old and he anytime to, so he's not actually eating with the food and he plays with the food. So what is he or she supposed to do?
So that means the child is not able to process whether he's hungry or not, or he is getting more means very frequently you are giving him food. Is it like that? Means I want to ask you.
We can like answer it general because I think not the specific information has been provided. It's just that the child age is 5 years and he plays with the food and rather than eating it. So yeah, we can get a general answer.
You can instruct the child to eat it. This is not a plaything. Playing is different. You can tell the child that it has to be segregated. This thing is for playing and this thing is for eating. So you have to just instruct the child to eat the food rather than playing with it. If he wants to play, means you can give some toys which resemble certain foods, and you can say these are the playing food items and these are the edible food items, so he will be able to even differentiate between them, and then he will understand the textures and he will know what to eat and what to play.
Okay, so I think we have already proceeded our time limits. So on this note, let's just end it here. Thank you so much, Shruti and Sania.
Thank you
This
to
was
all the
really-
parents who have attended the session. It would be lovely to hear any kind of feedback also in the chat box, and definitely we'll have more workshops and links coming up. So if you have any kind of feedback, any kind of suggestions, do feel free to put it in the chat box as well.
Yeah. If anyone of you has another question, I have dropped you a mail ID. You can just mail us on this and we'll get back to you. Thank you, everyone. I think.
Thank you, participants.
Thank
for
you.
joining.
Thank you.
Thank you, speakers. Thank you.
Thank you.